Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the second lecture of chapter 12. The chapter, of course, is joining and fastening processes. Let us see what we will be covering today. Of course, we will start with a review of what we did last time so that there is a continuity in your mind. Today then we will continue with arc welding with consumable electrode, right? This is one category. Shielded metal arc welding, an example, submerged arc welding, gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding, electro gas welding, and electro slag welding. This will cover this category of consumable electrode. Then second part of arc welding, non-consumable electrode, gas tungsten arc welding, atomic hydrogen welding, plasma arc welding. Then a little bit about fusion welded joint. And we will see if we can cover this much or a little more today. So let us see what you covered last time in lecture 1. We started with a general classification of manufacturing so that you could be reminded of where we are in the assembly operations, right? Permanent joining and mechanical fastening and so on. We introduced assembly processes, fusion welding, solid state welding, brazing and soldering, adhesive bonding, mechanical fastening, joining of non-metallic materials. We showed you a tree diagram dividing joining processes into fusion welding, other types of welding, fastening and bonding. We gave you a typical example of a modern engineering product where lots of different types of joining processes are used. Types of welded joints, butt joint, corner joint, T-joint, lap joint, edge joint, and so on. A very nice table about comparison of various joining methods in terms of their strength, design variability, and so on. Another very nice diagram about the general characteristics of joining processes in terms of what is the operation, what is the advantage, what is the skill level required, and so on. And then we started with the first topic mainly, oxy-fuel gas welding, which is also called oxy-acetylene welding in general because acetylene is the fuel gas. Types of flames, neutral flame, oxidizing flame, carburizing flame. Filler metals, right? The filler material that we use in addition to the welding materials and the gas. Pressure gas welding, a different type of gas welding than normal. Then we went to electric welding, which is called arc welding, but with the consumable electrode, where the electrode will be used up as we do the welding. Electrode will not remain throughout. It will be used up and we will have to keep on changing the electrode. A little about the heat transfer in arc welding, equations for heat input, voltage, current, efficiency, and so on, and especially welding speed. Specific energies of certain standard materials in the world of welding. Then an example about estimating the welding speed for different materials. We discussed whatever knowns and unknowns are there. And then I showed you, of course, that this is the table for specific energies of the material that we have chosen. And this is the equation for velocity and the other variables, right? So this was a very simple choice that this is the only equation which relates velocity to all the other variables, and the specific energy of the material will be from here, the small u in the equation, and we will just plug in the values and get the answer, right? So you plug in all of the values, efficiency, voltage, current, specific energy, cross-sectional area, and you have got the welding speed, right? So this was where we stopped last time. Let us start today's lecture now. Shielded metal arc welding. Shielded metal arc welding, SMAW. Now in arc welding or electric welding, this is the most common method everywhere in the world that you go and you see people doing arc welding with big goggles on their face and very big safety gloves on your hands and so on, and doing manual arc welding. This is the general technique, shielded metal arc welding, right? So shielded metal arc welding is the simplest and most versatile joining process. Simplest is good, and versatile means that you can apply it to any type of welding task. Versatile, right? Versatile can be used in many applications, and the simplest method. Now, when we will explain this, you will know why the name is shielded metal arc welding. Now, electric arc is generated by touching the tip of an electrode to the workpiece, withdrawing to a distance to maintain arc. Let me explain that. First, let us see this schematic diagram. This is your welding machine. Welding machine, AC or DC power source and controls and so on, right? So this is the welding machine. It is a portable machine, not a very low weight machine. I mean, you need maybe a couple of people to lift it, but it has wheels at the bottom, so you can easily shift it from one place to the other. But you can put this whole thing in a small truck, in the back of a wagon, and you can take it to any welding site. So it is portable still. And once it is offloaded to a site, because of the wheels, it can move anywhere you like. So this is the welding machine, which will generate the current and so on. And then there is a cable from here. This is your workpiece which you want to weld. So this is one piece, this is the other piece, maybe it is a butt joint and so on. From this here, one cable will join to the workpiece. The other is a line, electrode cable, which is going to the electrode. This is an electrode holder. So for every type of shielded metal arc welding, depending on the metals you choose, you will choose a specific type of electrode which will melt later on, right? There are companies which make these electrodes, a few companies worldwide. Lincoln is one of the most famous one, and you buy electrodes from there in accordance with the metal that you are welding. If you are in a welding shop, if you are in the industry where welding is done, you have your handbooks and you have your notes, and you know that for my metals, which electrode is the most suitable electrode. So now from the machine, this cable is coming. This is the electrode holder. You will fix the electrode inside here. And now the operator will hold it in his hands, right? And the electrode is coming. This electrode is coming, right? This is the electrode holder. The electrode is coming. He will just touch it and then move it. Tap it. It is caught in, just tap. So the electrode will just touch and then you will have a gap. So once you do this, you just touch it, the circuit is complete. Then you move it a very small distance away, 2-3 millimeters away. This depends on your experience. Now an electric arc will be generated. You know, normally whenever electricity flows, it conducts through a conducting medium. But electricity cannot flow through air or space, right? But if the current is very high, and if the distance is small, then electricity can jump from one place to the other. You know, lightning, when there are rains, sometimes you see lightning, right? Big flame type of things and so on in the sky. So that is huge current, thousands and thousands of amperes and so on. And that is why sometimes, even though there is a distance of 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, it can jump from the cloud to a building or to a mountain or so on. So that is arc, A-R-C, arc. Whenever electricity jumps over a gap without conducting through the conducting rod or metal, because of a very high current, then it is called an arc. So the operator, the welder, just touches it and then immediately makes a gap. So now an arc is produced, and now this arc is there. It is burning, right? Electricity is flowing from the electrode to the workpiece without contact, and it is because there was a very high current setting here. So this is the arc, right? So electric arc is generated by touching the tip of an electrode to the workpiece and then withdrawing to a distance to maintain the arc. So now here, right, this was the machine. Here now we are showing you how it is happening. This is the base metal, right? You started welding here and now you are moving to this side. You started welding here and you are moving to this side. So this is your electrode. There is an outside coating and inside there is an electrode material. There is an outside coating, right? So this electrode material is specifically chosen to suit your base metal. Inside there is a metal that will melt. So one part of the plate is here, one part of the plate is here. This is a butt joint and you are trying to join both of them or whatever, right? So this metal will be chosen in such a way that once it melts and solidifies with this base metal, then the properties of the final product are the same as you wanted in the original design, right? So this base metal is most probably the same metal or very close to that. And there is an outside powder type of coating which will also melt, and it will cover the welding. This inside thing, this will melt and become this part, the weld metal, right? This is the base part, and a little of the base melts, some of the electrode melts, and it makes a molten cover, and very quickly it will solidify. But this outer coating will melt and form this cover which you are calling slag. So this cover keeps the metal from getting in contact with the oxygen of the atmosphere, so that this metal inside remains pure metal. It does not get oxidized because there is this cover, this slag material over it. So the welder has to do two very important things. He has to keep the same distance, right? He tapped and moved, say 2-3 millimeters above. So as he moves, he keeps the same distance throughout. If he keeps on moving up and down, the welding quality is not good because you are not depositing the same amount of material, right? So the welder is very experienced, so that as you move along the weld piece, you keep the same distance from the base metal to the electrode. This is one thing. Second, he is keeping it at almost a 45-degree angle. He is keeping it at almost a 45-degree angle all the time as he is moving it. So this is the second very important thing, that he is very experienced. He keeps it almost at a 45-degree angle and he keeps it at the fixed distance. And then at the same time he is moving it with a constant velocity. He is not moving it very fast, otherwise there will not be enough melting. He is not moving it very slow, otherwise there will be too much melting in one place. So he is moving at a constant speed, which is a good speed for welding. So you see, three very important things: keep the distance constant, keep the angle constant, keep the velocity constant and good, not fast, not small. So that is why electric arc welder is a very experienced person if you want to do good welding, right? So this is electric arc welding. You have the machine, you have the electrode holder, you have the electrode, you touch it, you keep it from a distance, and then you start operating it, right? So this is a very nice schematic diagram of shielded metal arc welding. And I said that when I explain it, you will know the name, right? So because this outer coating melts and forms this slag which shields the metal from oxidization. So therefore it is called shielded metal arc welding. It is an arc welding, which means electric. It is metal, of course, but the metal is shielded because of the slag, because of the covering on the electrode, right? So I mean, we spent a lot of time on this one slide, but hopefully you really understand. And of course, in workshop, you have actually practiced doing it yourself or with the help of a trainer.